Hello, Philosophy One. This is Dr. Timothy Elizondo here in my quarantined distance learning education box, I guess you can call it. But I'm here to offer a video as we kick off week number 2 because I was kind of hoping that at this point you've had an opportunity to peruse the course, look over the modules. So I figure, hey, it's week 2. Let's get started and let's get rolling with the objectives of the particular course. So I thought that I would do a few things in this video. First, I kind of feel like I need to introduce myself a little bit more formally. Second of all, I want to talk a little bit about the book situation and how it applies to the exams. And then finally, I want to talk about, I think the exams more specifically, and perhaps that will help you understand my approach to the course. All right. So like I said, my name is Dr. Timothy Elizondo. I just completed my 16th year at Columbia College as a full-time faculty member in communication studies and philosophy. And to be honest, I don't have a degree in philosophy. Personally, I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in communication studies with an emphasis in rhetoric from Arizona State University. And then I switched disciplines and went to Bowling Green State University, where I earned a doctorate in what's called American Culture Studies. And in that area, I used a lot of critical theory, used a lot of different kinds of cultural studies, different kinds of theoretical, philosophical ideas that are housed in different disciplines, bringing them together for a dissertation. And so I would say my specialization is more in contemporary philosophy. But I am qualified according to the state of California to teach philosophy as well. But my specialization is really more in the now and the postmodern versus what you could argue is the ancient and the pre-modern. But the thing is that the ideas and the controversies and the questions are very, very, very similar, just how they're expressed is a little bit different. So, personally, my experience with philosophy is I fell into it as a competitive debater in high school. Oftentimes, the competitions would require students to make philosophical arguments. And so I would go to the library and just read a bunch of different philosophers to bring into competitive debate. And I continued refining that particular set of skills, bringing philosophy into communication studies or bringing philosophy into whatever academic project I would have, either inside or outside of the classroom. And I'm really excited about this particular class. It's our first opportunity to offer this fully online. And I think that the content of the course is actually, it's very well matched to kind of intersect with what's going on around us, both from a cultural level, a political level, a spiritual level, but also a technological level. So I think we're in really good shape. Now, I understand that some of you might be having difficulty finding the textbooks. So this particular course, Introduction to Philosophy, is a course that I've taught at Columbia College for many, many years. And it's a course that is designed to expose students to kind of the classical works and issues and quandaries facing the philosophical discipline as a whole, right? And in a sense, to understand what individuals who major in philosophy might be studying or their sets of concerns if they were interested in pursuing this within their education. So with that in mind, I designed the course around these two particular books. One is called The Ultimate Questions, Thinking About Philosophy, and then this is its partner book, which is a book of snippets from classical essays. Right, I guess that's the best way to explain it. One of the reasons I really like this book is this particular book is organized in a way that every single chapter tries to tackle one question that is a major question in philosophical inquiries, right? Such as, how do we know? Or do we have free will? Or what is the nature of God? The material in this book is not necessarily unique. In other words, it can be found in lots of other different textbooks. I just really like the way it's presented here in this book. Let's see if I've got another one. It's very similar to, say, this book, No Nonsense Knowledge, and the way that this book is organized. But I went with this one just because I thought it was more reader-friendly. Now, I understand that some of you might be having difficulty finding either this book or this book. And so what I've done is I found an additional free resource that I put in the modules that you can also access to complete the assignments. Uh, the quizzes are really designed around these two books, but as we proceed, if students are reporting continuing having difficulty acquiring these books, then I can modify the quizzes to incorporate both, right? Or the OCR. Ultimately, I believe the quizzes can be addressed with either text, and ideally both, right? All right, so that's what we're going to try to do moving forward. And I apologize for those who have already purchased these and really want to use these exclusively. These are really still going to be really valuable resources that you can use in this class and should use in this class. But again, if you're having difficulty acquiring these books, there are going to be other options that we're going to need to incorporate just in order to be student friendly, right? During this interesting time of mail delaying. All right, so that's kind of what I wanted to say about the textbook. So now let's talk about the exams. Right, you'll probably notice that the way that these different modules are designed ultimately is there's kind of like these weekly kind of sets of activities that you have to complete. Oftentimes there'll be a discussion, right? You might have to make a video where you say something insightful. You might have to write something, whether a thoughtful essay or perhaps watch a video and write your particular thoughts. These are all assignments that are designed to help you with this exam paper that is due in a few weeks. Right? I think the first one is due, I want to say week 6. And the exams are going to be essays that has already been, so the prompts have already been released. They're in week 1. Okay, so we can talk about that in a second. But in a sense, yep, you got these 2 prompts looming off on the horizon. And you're going to have to write an exam paper on one of those prompts. And as we get closer, there's going to be various stages of outlines that are due. Like I think the first one's called first call. I'm going to say, all right, I want your outlines so I can see them and I can offer you feedback as it relates to your outlines. I will also grade your outlines. Okay. If you receive at least a C or better on the outlines, you get to choose which exam prompt you get to write about. But you got to get C's or better on both. And just so you know, I grade really, really difficultly on the outlines. Okay, so don't be surprised if you don't get a C the first time, because I'm going to be like really like thorough and right and picky. Not too picky, you know, but still a little picky. All right. So the object is to get these outlines to at least a C so that when the exam is due, you get to choose which prompt you want to write about. It's up to you. If you don't get your outlines to a C level by the time the exams are due, then I'm going to tell you which prompt you have to write about. I'm not going to surprise you. It's going to be one of the 2, but you don't get to choose. Does that make sense? So currently right now, for exam number 1, there's 2 prompts, and I'm going to just generally overview both prompts. I encourage you to look at the language specifically. The first prompt, generally speaking, it's a question that is asking students, how do we know we don't live in the matrix? And you might be saying, Tim, what's a matrix? I'm defining the matrix from the classic philosophical movie, The Matrix, starring Keanu Reeves. I'm going with that. This idea that we live in a computer simulation that is, that in a sense, we're a piece of software. Right? Now, there's various different kind of subcomponents to that prompt, but that's generally the question is, how do we know that either we do or do not live in the matrix? Right? In a sense, it's a retelling of Plato's cave, but with a twist. All right. The second prompt is, generally speaking, it's about, it's a hypothetical situation in which Columbia College is going to cancel philosophy. And so the student has to make the argument, doesn't matter. You can either argue, yes, oh yeah, it totally matters, here's why. Or you can make the argument, nope, and make that argument as well. So there's no necessarily correct answer to the exam prompts, but from my experience, I would suggest to you that there are arguments that are quote unquote easier or simpler, more direct, more cogent than others. Okay, so those are the two exams. So I don't know if I would wait until week 6 to look at the prompts and then figure things out. It's really, the entire course is designed to help you with these exams. And there's 3 exams. So the first 2 prompts are for the first exam, and then I'll release 3 prompts for the second exam, and then I'll release 2 prompts for the third exam. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. I would say the exams tend to be more argumentative and analytical than creative and expressive. Okay. Almost a final note. 2 more things. Here's the next to last thing. As far as sources you can use within the course, I encourage you to stick with the required reading material, either the anthologies that have been kind of okayed, this black one, which is called Readings on the Ultimate Questions, or the one from the open source textbook that is included in the shells, either the one that's the overview or the second book, which is the anthology that comes with it. Okay. The reason I say this is because if we don't have some sort of parameters, it's very possible for people to be pulling in all kinds of things from, I don't know, like this.com or this so-and-so that, or this article or this particular text. Or so I think we just need to have some parameters of what tools we're going to work with, just so everybody's kind of drawn from the same pool. That makes sense. Yep, so we got to stick with the text. So just try to make sure that your arguments and your analysis within the course connect to the course readings and not necessarily outside articles or other books or things like that. I would really just try to draw from the course readings so that you can show that your analysis is connecting with the course readings, which is always like much stronger from an evaluation perspective. Okay, final note is, tell you what, since you've been listening for so long and you've been so patient, tell you what, I'm going to offer you extra credit. I'm going to offer you extra credit if you can, how about, I need a suggestion, right? Because I don't drive anymore. So I just, I have about like $5 at the end of every month that I put into a little jar for a trip that I want to go on. When all this is over and I can go somewhere. And I'm wondering where I should go. So tell you what, if you send me a Canvas message letting me know where I should save my money and go when things are able to change, and also you U.S. citizens are able to potentially leave the country, where should I go? If you send me a message in Canvas, I will award you 5 extra credit points because it shows that you are consuming the entire kind of the entirety of the course content, which is a very, very important and valuable practice. And I want to reward that type of behavior because it shows that you are listening to the end. You're not zoning things out and just trying to skip around. All right. So tell you what, 5 extra credit points just for doing that. Just let me know where I should go. I also think, Mars is a possibility because I hear that that's also becoming an option. So, yep, hope all is well, and I'll talk to you later. All right. Bye, Philo.